What's going on, my friends? We are back downtown for a challenge that I haven't done in a while, called the Downtown Shuffle. You'll see this in my challenge playlist if you want to go check out the other times that I put the system through this, but basically what we do is we put down a series of waypoints to hotspots in downtown, and then we see if the system can actually get there, and as we go through each one, delete the waypoint, navigate to the next. So more often than not, it gets to be pretty wonky. Just given the one-way nature of the roads, whether or not there's construction or redirection or somebody jumping out in the streets. It's mid-Saturday. Lots of pedestrians, drivers, cyclists, everything in between. So we're going to go ahead and get this going here. It's been a little bit of a while since the last Downtown Shuffle. I actually can't remember the last time I did this. Things have just been so hectic that it never manifests. But here we go. As soon as we get the indicator, we'll go ahead and fire up. There we are. Now we are pretty much at our first stop, so I need to actually go in. I didn't really plan that very well there. Delete Tajima, hit done, and then see how we reroute. We're going to go through several spots, making our way from deep into downtown up into the Old Town area, and then eventually, well, sorry, the Old Town area is where we're ultimately going to try to go to get out of downtown. So from kind of deep into downtown through the gas lamp area into Little Italy and then ultimately Old Town. And here we go already with the obstacle course that is downtown, but very good. And now here we need to go to the left. We have the cyclist just running across a red light, or sorry, his red light, green light for us. It just shows you how crazy it can be. My commentary might be all over the place because being able to react and focus on all mirrors and possibilities for people to come around us is going to take a lot of my mental power. So I do apologize if the commentary suffers a little bit for that. And I can't stand being behind cyclists. It's not fun. They hold us back. They put a big question mark on everything. We're creeping up a little closer than I'd like to. But there we go. Some good braking, keeping our distance. And as soon as we're up here to clear this corner, I will continue on. But see, this is the annoying part about the cyclist, because he's looked at kind of like an obstacle, and then he wants to get in the way. Yeah, he's going where the hell he wants. He doesn't care. It's too unpredictable, too annoying. It's a bad experiment. Squishy humans next to all these big cars. But I'm glad that he's out of here and actually in his designated cycling lane that's separated by barriers. I cannot hint more than I am now at people. All right, here we go. Let's go in here, go to edit trip. We're gonna delete House of Blues and then wait until we actually make the turn to hit done, because we could mess it up otherwise. There we go, cyclist threw us off a little bit. System's kind of turning in, irritating the BMW behind us, which is pretty standard. Okay. Moving along. Let's see, the next route. I couldn't tell if she was just gonna jump into the street. This is insane. Okay, sort of making our way to the left, which is good, because we do have this very next left turn coming up. Woo! Stressful, my friends! While I have a second to get my thoughts together, I am trying to grow my presence on Twitter, as I expect in the future that it will seriously compete against YouTube and other content platforms and dislodge them in a pretty massive way, I would suspect, over, YouTube and Patreon and other things. So that little plug aside, you can find me on Twitter at CYBRLFT, same as the channel name. I'm trying to be as active as I can there with all my content there. Eventually, I'd like to become someone you can subscribe to there, and it won't be a paywall to my content. I want to get that out of the way right away, because there's a lot of mentality around, content behind a paywall. If anything, the Twitter will be a way to support me as I try to put out this content. I see some comments about that, of trying to, support what I do, and I really appreciate that. Right now, YouTube memberships is the only way that I have available, with little perks assigned to it, so feel free to check that out. Link in the description as well. And eventually on Twitter, given its free speech platform and being less restricted than YouTube, I might be able to, attack other areas of interest I have that are a little bit too contentious for YouTube. YouTube isn't quite brave enough for those conversations. Not in their full authenticity, at least. But anyway, again, all that aside, back to the Downtown Shuffle. Interesting case here with a lot of construction, stopped cars, people getting in and out. Hopefully the system redirects, or doesn't redirect, sorry. Observe it. Words, brain. Remember what I said about commentary? Falling apart. In the past, a person opening the door and being outside of a vehicle changes the way the vehicle recognizes this thing as an obstacle versus a vehicle to wait behind. It can cause an issue where it tries to go around said vehicle. That's what I was trying to say very poorly, is that hopefully she got in and they got moving before there was that weird delineation between obstacle or standard procedure with a vehicle. We're going to fast forward through these red lights with, a cut rather than fast forwarding too for time. All right, here we go. Now our next spot is La Puerta, coming up on Market Street, I believe. So we'll have to be timely with how we execute our nav there, because we want to go just past Market. We don't want to stop on Market. There we go. We're way too far to the right, kind of getting towards that turn lane. Here we go. We got some street cyclists that are... Oh, thank you so much for getting off the road. I appreciate that. What are you doing? That's a big SUV. Oh, interesting. Or not an SUV. Delivery van. My gosh. My brain is a mess. So we're now in the middle lane, which is fine. Based on our navigation, we're not really expecting to turn for, 2 blocks. I believe that this lane's to go straight. Both of the 2 side lanes there to go straight. This is going to get interesting. All right. We're deleting La Puerta, and as soon as we cross Market, I'll hit done. We'll see how the navigation handles this. And boom. All right, factoring in, lag times and such. Immediately getting over. It's still detecting that we needed to turn back there. Cool, so this will take us down Island, which is kind of a tight little street. And then on to First Avenue. I've realized, wow, really good so far. My brain has been falling apart far more than FSD has through this course. I wonder how this little cone will affect it. It won't affect it. Beautiful. So much going on. At least it's a nice, beautiful day out. It was really rainy the past 2 days. I was worried I wouldn't be able to get as much content going on here, but looks like we're good. Now we'll carry on through First Avenue and then stay on there until we come up to Broadway and then a left on A Street. So I tried to make it to where this little downtown shuffle would have plenty of turns. I can't really tell where this woman is going. There you go. Okay, cross the street. She sort of looked like she was walking diagonally, which people do plenty of the time. And you're like, all right, which way, my friend? I need to know your path, your vector. The system's doing a really good job, though, of just driving along through. I've noticed there are slightly more successes now than there used to be with customer trips coming through downtown. There is a particular turn that I think I'm going to have to add to a more robust testing phase, coming from 10th Avenue down on the 163, immediately turning onto Ash Street to the left, because the first 2 lanes are dedicated to getting back on the 163, and it isn't until, not the 3rd, but the 4th lane to go straight on Ash and then head up toward Balboa Park. I experienced that with a customer recently that you'll see in a voiceover video probably a couple of days after this one. After this, we're going to have a video of getting to La Jolla for the La Jolla Scramble, and then the actual La Jolla Scramble Challenge. So keep your eyes out for that. I know there are a lot of people that like that one because it focuses on roundabout execution. There's several. There's like 5 roundabouts in series that I just make the car loop through like crazy to see how it handles yielding and executing the actual roundabouts. So rather small, but still, it's a fun challenge. Now we're on another street with another fire engine. We'll see how this goes. We need to go pretty much straight all the way down to Broadway, which is several lights ahead of us. Now the first time we got around the emergency vehicles pretty easily. The system did a good job of executing and getting over. And now, again, we are in average mode. I don't know if I mentioned that yet. Average has become sort of my new favorite. As chill, as good as it is is not as reliable with making lane changes on the highway that I've noticed. Well, not as reliable might not be the best way to say it, but it doesn't have quite the initiative to enact speed-based lane changing to maybe get out of a lane that's driving just really slow for an extensive amount of time. And average is just better at sort of speeding that up a bit. And I like that. Sometimes I'll kind of switch between chill and average depending on the mood of the trip. But For the last week or so, I've been leaving it on average, also for testing to have more info on the RoboTaxi report. Here's an annoying case I really can't stand, where you've got a really big bus, but we might actually have enough room here, well, with pedestrians and this human behind us. You see my turn signal on, and you're still up my bumper, like a silly primate. My goodness. All right, now if we, there you go. There's some good staging. We didn't get into the empty lane, we got right over, and this guy is still right on my bumper. Yeah, good job, bud. You're so fast just to get right there and stop at a red light. Humans. Anyway, back to what I was saying. The big bus right there at the corner, we were fortunate that there was space, because that can cause the system sometimes to freak out and not take that turn or get really uncomfortable. But that was actually pretty good. It was mostly this dummy in the white SUV that was making things extra uncomfortable. System's still performing quite well. Is this a legal right turn? It does look like it is, and we have time after this SUV, and we need to go, go, go. There it is. Good. Okay. Man, cars passing, lights changing, all sorts of things happening. Now we need to go back into edit trip again. We're going to go ahead and delete that and go ahead and hit done. When they switched the UI to where edit trip was, it became all too easy to hit cancel trip and just delete all the waypoints altogether. It should be frustrating, but I'm getting used to where those little buttons are. Edit trip, end trip. It's close enough that your brain can fool your actions into hitting the wrong thing. All right, we'll come up through here, left on Ash, and our final destination on the downtown side is really trying to get into Little Italy. And then we're going to attempt to get out of downtown, get on the 5 and head north and see what happens. And what I'll probably do is pick up from there in the next video, heading towards the La Jolla Scramble. A lot of interesting things like this too, where that is a two-way road that we were just on, transitioning into a one-way road. A lot of weird things. You know, granted, I've never really had the FSD make that mistake. It's been really good at making sure it's going the proper direction of travel. All too often, I'm using FSD and I'm flashing my lights frantically at a human going the wrong way on that one-way road. Just to hammer that point home. All right. Moving on through. In theory, it should be pretty chill. We're sort of in an interim portion of downtown that isn't quite as trafficked by pedestrians and such, until we do finally get onto State Street or India Street and such, going into Little Italy, and then it gets very dense again. So much construction. Hopefully we're not blocked by construction up here, so a good thing we didn't have to take Union Street, because that's a no-go. Looks like State Street's okay. There we go, but we have pedestrians getting ready to move. System beautifully just waiting comfortably behind them. No issue at all. Handling pedestrians very, very well. Ooh, I wonder if we'll see the dog on the display. Yeah, where is it? Is it going to be there? Little guy? I don't see it. Ah, no dog on the display today. Alright. Now we're waiting for them to cross, and good job. Alright, Beta's kind of taking its initiative there. Unnecessary braking here. Why? Keep going. There you go. Good job. It's like it got unsure of itself for a second. Okay. This will be a little tight series of turns coming up. Left on West 1st Street. And then an immediate right on what I believe to be India. And then we're going to be trying to get out of here. I might get a little quiet here as I'm just like looking around, because this is where it gets quite a bit more dense again. This Tacoma needs to go after these pedestrians clear, and then it would be our turn. Now we've got some peds and some puppers coming across the screen. I always like to see if the screen will pick them up. It does sometimes, but not all the time. Now we're just getting passed by people because of the pedestrians that were crossing us, and this Honda's coming out. Welcome back to reality. There you go. Pedestrians crossing the street. All sorts of craziness. Welcome to Little Italy. I don't know if I've actually driven through these portions of downtown specifically on the challenge. Maybe in some customer reactions videos. typically at night, but this is where it gets really flooded with pedestrian traffic. Looking pretty good. Looks like we got a break here to get moving, which we need to take. Come on, FSD. There we go. Kind of pausing a little bit, though. All right, pushing through. Making sure nobody's flying around corners. People like to think that stop signs over here are just suggestions versus, you know, being serious. All right, and I have a feeling we're about to get into a really, really dense part of Little Italy after this left turn. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's sitting here waiting in the middle of the street. Good job, pal. All right, come on. We need to move. We need to move. Not too tight. Make sure no one's coming through here. Okay. A little pausing, but the system's just being really cautious. There's a lot of stimuli everywhere. Go ahead after we pass this turn or street and delete born and raised. All right, come on. I need you to respond to my touch there. There you go. All right, and then our final bit here is going to take us out of downtown. I was kind of wanting to take us down Harbor Drive, which that could be more fun. Yeah, let's go down the original course. Let's see what that does. We need to creep up, though. We need to actually be able to see when it's clear. All right, I'm giving it a little throttle nudges, and it's fighting me pretty hard, but we got to be able to see that it's clear to be able to then go. Otherwise, people are just going to get pissy like this little motorcyclist to my left. There we are. There we are. And we're on the brakes again because more people. All right, so that was really the first time I had to actually give some throttle action there, and we're on the brakes again because he thinks this guy's crossing the street. All right, system's moving. Stress levels rising. So throughout that entire trip, we had one area where I had to get on the throttle 2 or 3 times to try to inch us forward enough to actually move. Bit of a sticking point. That was a really blind left scenario, though, so it's a little understandable. Looks like the navigation switched us again. I wanted us to... Okay, that other route disappeared. We'll just go with what's happening. Why complicate it? Let's see. We're going to have a lot of people trying to cut in to get to the highway. Because more often than not, this side is really choked up because of pedestrian crossing and just the sheer amount of cars that are trying to get to the 5. It looks like we got ourselves a nice little break here. And we're not actually going to the right, so we need to... Good job! Right as I said it, we're getting over, which is perfect. These 2 lanes here will both allow you to transition to the 5 south and 163 north. This lane can go either way. These 2 lanes going straight. So this is a good spot to be. Let's get through these red lights. Oh, there we go. Never mind. It's already green. There'll probably be a lot of people racing up to then get over to get onto the 5 as well. It's pretty nutty on a Saturday. Saturdays are crazy. There we go. Looks like we might actually make our way all the way to the highway, and I think this might be the first time. We'll have to go watch other Downtown Shuffle videos to know for sure. I don't want to jinx it just yet, but this might be the first time that we've actually had a complete success. I struggle to say complete success because I don't like the way I needed to get on the throttle to sort of nudge it through that really busy part of Little Italy, but it didn't require disengagement. Overall, the system's done really well at how it's traveled through these parts, and now we just got to make it onto the highway successfully and get out of here. Got an airplane going overhead, which is really dope. There we go, coming around. Well, hitting the brakes unnecessarily there. Can't do that, can't do that. People are expecting to come onto the highway now. So, second throttle intervention, and I sort of messed with the speed because I didn't see it showing the proper highway speeds. But there we go. We are out. Sorry if that was loud, clapping into the mic. But we are out of downtown, and we are on our way. And I need to go ahead and navigate us to Turquoise Street here. Are we actually getting out of this road? Awesome. Get rid of that. Okay, navigation's gone. Navigate to Turquoise Street in La Jolla. Boom. So that's how good the voice stuff is. I get questions in the comment section all the time about like how I transition my Uber and Lyft stuff to the Tesla map. That's how. Like 90% of what I do is just that voice stuff right there. I just tell it where to go. Sometimes it's not always accurate, and I'll put it in manually, or there's a connection error, whatever, you know, and manual still is the way. There's no special way to do it. There's no way to automatically share it, to my knowledge. At least not something that I would, you know, do regularly. But anyway, that is it for the Downtown Shuffle, and a massive improvement in my experience over previous versions. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Sorry, I was sort of flustered and all over the place. There's a lot going on there, a lot of stimuli for me and for the car. So let me know what you think down below, and keep your eyes out for the drive towards the La Jolla Scramble and the actual La Jolla Scramble itself, and future voiceover videos. I'm trying to really scale up the content, keep it all flowing. The channel's got amazing growth lately, and I really thank you all for viewing and liking, subscribing, all the fun stuff. It's helping me grow. So until the next one, guys, take care.